This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 597 of Horse Tip Daily. A different horse tip, a different equine topic, a different equestrian expert every day. Horse Tip Daily brings the world of equine knowledge to you one day at a time. Today's tip is brought to you by EquestrianCollections.com. Greetings, horse people. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today's tip is from Dr. Wendy Ying. Dr. Ying is co-host of the Driving Radio Show here on the Horse Radio Network and a doctor of veterinary medicine who practices traditional Chinese medicine in her practice, 5 Elements for Animals. She is also an active competitor in the sport of combined driving and also enjoys fox hunting. Today's tip is part 1 in a two-part series, and it is about dealing with witchy mares. Now, let's face it, folks. They're out there. We may as well learn to deal with them. But first, a word from today's sponsor, Equestrian Collections.
Howdy, everybody. Glenn the Geek back with you. I am with Debbie from Equestrian Collections with the Equestrian Collections Product of the Week, and we're going breeches this week.
This week, I wanted to talk about the Tough Rider Ladies Rib Knee Patch Breeches. And the reason I picked these out is because I think these are some of the best middle-of-the-line breeches. They're great. You can show in them if you want. You can also, they're great for trail riding. These breeches are fabulous all-around breeches. They're our biggest seller. They're the most comfortable breech I've ever worn. And the fun thing about these is they come in a gazillion colors. For fun, especially this in the spring, you might want to wear purple. They have those. There's all kinds of colors. The sizes are very comfortable. They are stretchy without being tight, and they come in knee patch, and they come in low rise and regular rise, and they also come in full seat.
Well, I think you're right. These make a great medium level breech at under $50. And I want to read a little review that Tricia wrote on your website. She said these breeches are very good quality, fit well, and have a high level of comfort. The material is soft, and the ribbing makes these appear much more expensive than they are. That's a great review.
Yes, we're always happy to hear from our customers.
I wanted to say that, too. On your website, on Equestrian Collections, you can read all the reviews. It's one of the cool things about shopping over there. And you can find these Tough Riders Ladies Rib Knee Patch Riding Breeches at EquestrianCollections.com. Just search for Tough Rider Ladies Breeches, and you'll find them on there, along with the entire Tough Rider line of breeches, which they have some terrific products in addition to these. Check them out at EquestrianCollections.com.
Well, thanks a lot for the heads up on breeches from Equestrian Collections, Glenn the Geek. I'm going to go surf on over to Equestrian Collections right now and check out those nifty new colors that they've got while you guys enjoy today's tip.
Well, now it's time. Dr. Ying is back, so let's play the theme music. Gong. You love that gong? I still love hearing the gong. I missed the theme music last week because
I know.
Dr. Ying was out. She was gone.
Dr. Ying had checked out. She was so exhausted. Her chi was so depleted from the move that Dr. Ying checked out.
There was no chi left. All the chi was gone. Well, tell us about bitchy mares. Now, I will tell you this. Jennifer and I have owned mares all along for the last 25 years, and thoroughbred mares at that. And we've owned more mares than I think we have geldings. And we really haven't had a whole lot of trouble with bitchy mares. I don't know if we've just been lucky or we just know how to handle them or what the story is, but I guess other people don't have the same luck we did, so that's why we're having this conversation.
Well, the thing is, Chinese medicine is very good at explaining why some mares are bitchy and some are not. Because remember we talked about the 5 elements.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So the mares that tend to be bitchy during their cycle are wood animals. And wood animals, when they get stressed or, have a deficiency or excess in their chi, they get angry. and they can be violent, and they let that kind of go out of control because they don't deal with stress very well. So if you had an earth type horse that has a hormonal problem, then they manifest that as something else. Like maybe they're a little bit lazy or whatever, but you don't notice it as like squealing or bucking or, not dealing with their stress well.
Okay.
So that's how that relates there. So you probably lucked out and had animals that were more like earth type or metal type.
Right.
So, so when you have a mare that's like that, it's like we talked about the very, very first time I talked to you, that obviously is a wood animal. So you have to decide, you can't cure that. That's its personality. So you can deal with it, but you have to decide if you're a strong enough person to regulate
and
that.
A patient enough person.
Yeah, because you can't get angry at them because that will just cause them to be more angry.
That's right. And same way, it's pretty much the same way. Yep. I'm going to stop right there. Not get myself in trouble.
Oh, I see. But Jennifer's not a wood.
No, she is not at all, actually.
So, but actually it's interesting because the medicine that we use, the herbal formula that we use for mares like that is called Free and Easy Wanderer. And it's actually the most prescribed herbal formula for people in the world. And basically what happens is liver qi stagnation, right? So liver qi stagnation with these mares, it manifests when they are cycling. So they're having hormone imbalance and they're feeling kind of crappy and, aggravated. But in people, liver qi stagnation is the number one problem that is diagnosed in humans because we have traffic and stress and chemicals and drinking too much coffee and those kind of things. And that causes liver qi stagnation. So the basis is you want to soothe the liver qi. So the number one herb for that is called Zhang Fu Zi. And it's a cypress. It's actually a root. It's a grass. I can't remember the name. It's like a common nut grass or something. And we use the root ball and that's processed. And then that has chemicals in it that help regulate the qi. Then we also use some citrus, mint, and some gardenia and angelica. And that all helps to move the qi. And also those are also found in body sores. So it helps make the body feel better. So you're not as achy. So that formula is really great, like I said, for people and for animals.
Now, I know we have our sponsor, Nupafeed, also has a product that helps with this particular issue too, right?
Yes, and with these kind of mares, like I said, you're dealing with all the stress. So the Nupafeed is really great because the magnesium does two things. It calms them, so they're not as aggravated. Their nerves are not as hypersensitive. So stresses are not so huge. Like the saddle doesn't hurt so much, or the doesn't hurt when you tighten the girth as much. And also the magnesium relaxes the muscles so they don't have as much muscle spasm, because a lot of pain is in their sides. Like we call that hypochondriac pain, not hypochondriac like you think you're dying, but hypochondriac meaning that region, like the sides, your rib area. Mm-hmm. So that's why some mares get really sensitive if you put leg on when they're cycling, because they're sore there on their ribs and they're sore in their back over where their ovaries are.
Okay, right.
And then for acupuncture, we would treat the liver and gallbladder meridians, but also conception vessel. And the conception vessel is the meridian that runs along the midline. And then we also have another meridian that's a secondary meridian that's called the Chong meridian. That's like a belt. So that goes directly to the internal organs, the genitalia, so the ovaries and so it helps the lower back and the ovaries relax.
So there's a number of different things you can do, obviously, the Nupafeed being one of them. One of the options that you have there, and just so we can get our plug in for our sponsor here today, you can find all the information about their products at nupafeedusa.com. And which product was that?
And that's the NupaFeed Magnesium. So it's the main NupaFeed product. And that, if I have a mare like that, I would recommend syringes. It comes in a liquid pump that some horses get every day for calming, but the syringes are concentrated. And, this is a time when they'll need an extra dose of that, extra dose of the magnesium.
Okay.
So the syringe is really good because, for one, you can make sure they're getting it all, and for two, it's more concentrated.
The other,
so that would be
through.
They're both feed through. The syringes is the oral syringe.
Gotcha. Okay.
But that might be something that, like, say you're competing a mare and she comes into season, like, in the trailer on the way to the show. And you get there and you realize, oh my God, I can't believe it. So if you have these syringes, you could give it like 3 hours out from your competition and then another hour out from your competition. And that would give you the maximum effect of the relaxation and the relaxation of the brain and the muscle.
Are there some mares where nothing works? Or nothing seems to work?
Yeah, I would say so. I think there's some mares that are just so super sensitive. That's what I was saying. You have to think to yourself, like, this is my mare's personality. And am I the type of person that can deal with that?
Right.
Or maybe you just don't want to show it at that show. Or maybe there's things you can do. Like, do you want to put it on Regimate and control her cycle? Or do you want to spay her? I mean, that is always an option, to spay them if you're not going to breed them.
So if I call my vet about this, my average, vet, and he or she comes out, what will they recommend I do?
Like, if you're not going to use Chinese medicine?
Right.
I would say probably they would manage it with Regimate.
Yeah.
Which is, a synthetic progesterone. But the thing about that is, is a little bit difficult to handle because you don't want to get that on your skin, because that will mess up a woman's cycle too. And that's something you need to give
it on your skin.
Yeah, you can't have that absorbed through your skin.
Oh, wow.
Because then it'll affect your cycle. So you don't want to do that. And it is a little bit pricey. It's about $250 a liter. So you need that every month.
Wow. So that could get expensive for that.
Yeah. Then there's also, you can do injectables. But, there's a lot of expense involved in managing a mare like that.
Right.
And then some people feel like, oh, well, I'll get her pregnant and then bring her back and she should be better. And sometimes that does help. But I think that...
Let's not forget you have a baby to take care of then.
Yeah, then you have a baby. But I think... I think that sometimes you have mares that have underlying pain issues anyways, and then they cycle, and then they're sensitive. They're super sensitive. So then that's manifesting too. So maybe the year off with the baby does a lot. Like, it relaxes the ligaments when they have the baby. So if they had sacroiliac problems or
I was going to ask you, I think too, I was wondering how many of these mares, they do have what you call the bitchy mare syndrome, but also they have ulcers or some kind of stomach issues as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Right along with that, which, anybody that's had a stomach ache for any period of time, it's annoying and you're going to get bitchy. It's
right.
It's that issue too. And I think that sometimes we're calling it bitchy mare syndrome when it's actually masking something else that's completely oblivious to the fact that whether it's a mare or a gelding.
Right, exactly. And you know how the wood and the earth are interrelated, right? So the wood is the personality of the mare, and then the earth is like the stomach. So, in your example there, it's hard to tell which came first. Did they have ulcers first and then they're showing the bitchiness signs, or are they angry and then that manifests as ulcers? So either way, you need to find that out and treat it.
All right, very good. And of course, there is lots of information out there. Is there any particular place you would recommend people go to learn more?
Well, I would say they should go to 5elements.com.
5, and is it the number 5 or the letter 5?
Yeah, it's the number 5.
Okay.
Elements. 4animals.com. And I have to admit,
Animals.com.
I have been bad about my blogging this week.
Well, you've been kind of busy, but now we got to get and see some improvement on that.
I know.
Or we're going to have to put you on some Nupafeed.
I know. I'm going to have to do the L-carnitine so I have more energy to blog at night.
Well, thanks a whole bunch, Glenn the Geek and Dr. Wendy Ying from The Driving Show. To listen to all of Wendy's tips, just go to the Horse Tip Daily Show at horsetipdaily.com and go to the Experts drop-down menu on the left. You can also go to her website, as she mentioned, 5elements4animals.com. Use the digits, don't spell it out. 5elements4animals.com and see what Wendy's up to and give her a little grief if she forgets to put those blog posts up. If you just cannot get enough of Wendy and Glenn, you can listen to them every week on the Driving Radio Show. Head on over to drivingradioshow.com. And don't forget, support our sponsors here on the Horse Tip Daily because they make these podcasts possible. Today's sponsor has been equestriancollections.com, where I've been surfing for the past few minutes trying to find myself a nifty new pair of breeches. Visit them today, equestriancollections.com. Please stop by the Horse Tip Daily Facebook page and let us know what you think of the tips you hear on the show. It's also a great place to tell us about topics you'd like us to cover on the show. You can subscribe to all of the great shows on the Horse Radio Network through iTunes or Zune and get your horse podcasts automatically downloaded to your iPod, Zune, or MP3 player. I'll be back again tomorrow with another new expert and a different horse tip. Until then, go ride your horse! The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.